The secret to your comeback isn't hope. It's realizing no one is coming to save you. This story is a 10-step battle plan to disappear. Heal in silence and return so powerful that you become unrecognizable. To follow this journey of transformation and start your own, subscribe now and turn on all notifications so you never miss the next step. Have you ever felt like your whole life was quietly falling apart and maybe nobody even noticed? You walk around, you smile at people, but deep down, something inside you feels shattered like a broken glass. You are the person who helps everyone. But when you are the one who is hurting, it feels like no one is there. You scream, but you make no sound. You break, but only behind closed doors where no one can see. And somehow, you still show up for your life. You still go to work. You still take care of your family. You still do what you need to do. But now, you're tired. You're so tired of pretending. So tired of holding all of that pain inside. So tired of being the strong one for everybody else. And I want you to know that I understand. I really do. I made this story for you. It's not here just to motivate you like so many other things you see. My hope is to give you something real, a kind of fire that can bring you back to life. Because you are not weak, you are not lazy, and you are not broken beyond repair. You are in the middle of a transformation, a deep and powerful change. So please don't give up. Don't stay in that dark place where they left you. Don't let this moment be the end of your story. Today, we will walk through 10 honest steps together. These are not soft words or fake hope. They are about finding real power, a real mindset, and real healing. I encourage you to listen until the very end. Because if you do your comeback, your return to yourself begins today. As you listen, I hope you will feel stronger inside and that your English will grow and improve with every word. So listen carefully. Take a deep breath and let's change everything together. Step 1. Stop explaining your pain to people who don't care. When you feel broken, the first thing you often want is for someone to understand you. You want to explain yourself, to describe the feeling. You want someone, anyone, to see just how heavy your heart feels. But here is a difficult truth. Most people, they don't truly care. They might listen for 5 seconds, but then their mind goes back to their phone, to their own problems. They might nod their head while secretly they are judging you. Or even worse, sometimes they use your pain against you later. Every time you explain your feelings to someone who doesn't really care, you lose a little more of yourself. You give away a piece of your energy. You don't need other people to validate you. You don't need their pity. What you need is your own power back. The world doesn't need to understand you. You need to understand you. Let me tell you a simple story that has helped millions of people understand this. A young girl once went to her father and she was crying. Her tears ran down her face as she said, "I give up. Life is just too hard. I'm so tired of fighting all the time." Her father listened quietly. He said nothing at first. He just took her hand and led her to the kitchen. There, he placed 3 pots on the stove and filled them with water. In the first pot, he put a potato. In the second pot, he placed an egg. And in the third pot, he added some dark, fragrant coffee beans. He turned on the stove and let the water in all 3 pots begin to boil. 20 minutes passed in silence. The only sound was the bubbling of the water. Finally, he turned off the heat. He looked at his daughter and said, "Look closely." He took the potato out of the water. It had gone into the pot, strong and hard, but the boiling water had made it soft and weak. He then took out the egg. The egg was fragile on the outside, and the inside was liquid, but the boiling water had made the inside of the egg hard and strong. Finally, he took a cup and poured some of the water from the third pot. It was now dark, rich coffee. The coffee beans were different. They didn't become weak or hard. They had changed the water itself. He looked into his daughter's eyes, his own eyes full of love, and said, "When life gets hard, when you are in the boiling water of pain, you have three choices. You can become weak like the potato. You can become cold and hardened like the egg, too. Or you can be like the coffee bean and turn the pain into power. You can change the very water that is trying to hurt you. So stop wasting your energy trying to explain your boiling water to others. Instead, change what that water means to you. People will always misunderstand you. Let them. You were not made to be understood by everyone. You were made to become undeniable. From today, don't explain your pain. Use it. Build from it. Rise with it. And come back so strong, so focused, so powerful that they will never have to ask you again what you went through. Your success, your peace will say everything. Step 2. Accept that no one is coming to save you. There comes a time in your life when you finally understand something that changes you forever. It's a truth that might break you at first, but if you can accept it, it will wake you up like nothing else ever has. That truth is this: no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to fix the things that other people broke. No one is coming to wipe away your tears at 2 o'clock in the morning when you are all alone. No one is coming to motivate you every single day. No one is coming to force you to stop wasting your life. That is your job now. It hurts to hear that, doesn't it? Because we all grow up with stories in our heads. We think that if we fall down hard enough, someone will be there to catch us. We believe that someone will notice our pain, that someone will care, that someone will show up with love, with help, with all the answers. But here you are. You might still feel broken, still waiting. And the phone is silent. The door didn't open. And no one came. Now please listen to this next part carefully, because this can be the turning point of your entire life. Let me tell you a story. It's not a sweet one, not a soft one, but it is a real one. It's a story that reflects the lives of millions of people who are alive, but feel like they are already dead inside. There was a man who got stuck deep inside a canyon. It was a place surrounded by sharp rocks, tall, steep walls, and a deep, heavy silence. He had fallen while he was hiking. He broke his leg, and he couldn't move. At first, he believed someone would come for him. He screamed for help until his voice was hoarse. He waited. He hoped. He had a little water and a little food. He kept telling himself, "They will find me. Someone will rescue me." A few hours passed, then a full day, then 2 days. Still, no one came. By the third day, he was much weaker. His hope was still there, but now it felt like a little lie he was telling himself. By the 5th day, his mind started to break. He couldn't believe it. All the people he had helped in his life, all the friends he once had, not one of them came. He had a choice. He could try to drag himself inch by inch toward a narrow slope he saw in the distance. He could try to climb even with his broken leg, or he could just lie there and wait for a rope that never came. He waited. He died waiting. And on the 8th day, a rescue team finally found him. He was dead. He was only 20 feet away from a path where someone might have seen him, if only he had dragged himself a little further. Do you understand now? He had a broken leg, but he still had working arms. He still had his breath. He still had options. But he chose to wait instead of choosing to fight. And that is what so many people are doing in their real lives right now. You might be stuck in your own version of that canyon. Maybe it's heartbreak, or failure, or depression. Maybe it's betrayal, or a deep regret. And you are just lying there hoping for someone to come and save you. But every second you wait is slowly killing your spirit. Because no one is coming. When you truly accept that no one is coming to save you, something incredible happens. You stop waiting. You stop hoping that someone else will finally understand you. You stop blaming the world for your pain. You stop needing permission from anyone to move. And then you begin to move. Maybe you move very slowly. Maybe it's painful. Maybe you move with tears in your eyes. But you move. And that is where your comeback begins. People think that strength is found in big muscles or in shouting motivational quotes. But real strength is when you pick yourself up on a day when even your soul feels tired. It's when you feed yourself even when your appetite is gone. It's when you wake up at 6 a.m. because you promised yourself you would change, even when your body begs you to stay in bed. It's when you delete the app, or end the toxic relationship, or start over from nothing, and no one is there to clap for you. No one thanks you. But you do it anyway. That is the moment you stop just surviving, and you start rising. The world does not reward victims. It rewards warriors. You can cry for help, or you can build yourself. You can beg people to stay with you, or you can walk away and never look back. You can keep telling the same old story of how they hurt you, or you can write a new one about how they could not destroy you. The world will never stop for your pain, but you can stop letting your pain be your prison. You have two choices. 1, keep lying in your canyon hoping they will return. Or 2, drag yourself inch by inch to your own rescue and become the story that inspires the next broken soul. When you finally stop waiting, the journey begins. It will be hard. No one might cheer for you at first. You will probably fall again. You will feel lonely. You will want to quit. But each day that you fight, your body, your mind, and your heart will rebuild something. Not the old you. That version of you is gone. You are building someone new, someone unshakable, someone who does not beg to be saved because they became their own savior. Not for others, for themselves. If you are listening to this and you are still hoping that someone will come and fix your pain, I am here to tell you with love that they won't. But you will. You are the only one who can. And once you do, the pain will not own you anymore. It will fuel you. It will sharpen you. It will create someone that they never ever expected. So stop crying for the rope that isn't there. Use your hands. Use your spirit. Use your pain. And rise. Not when someone tells you to, but because you have decided right now to live again. This is such a difficult but important lesson to learn, isn't it? The idea that we are our own rescuers. It can feel lonely, but it can also be incredibly empowering. It makes me wonder, have you ever had a moment in your life where you realized you had to save yourself? A time when you stopped waiting and started moving. I would be so honored to read your story or your thoughts about this in the comments below. Your experience could be the light that helps someone else find their way out of the canyon. Step 3. Disappear without warning. Heal in silence. There comes a point where your pain becomes too heavy for words. A point when explaining it feels like you are screaming into a void, an empty space. A point when everything inside you wants to shout just to be understood by someone. But then you realize something much deeper. You realize that healing doesn't always happen by talking. Sometimes it happens when you stop explaining, stop performing for others, stop updating everyone on your pain. Sometimes healing happens when you simply disappear. Not forever, but for long enough to rebuild yourself in peace. You don't do it to punish anyone. You don't do it to run away from life. You do it to finally face yourself without all the noise, without all the pressure, and without all the distractions. We are so often addicted to being seen. We want people to check on us. We want someone to send a message and ask, "Are you okay?" We want people to understand our silence without us having to say a single word. But the hard truth is, most people are too busy with their own lives to notice. And the more you try to explain your storm to people who are standing in the sun, the more empty you will feel. That is why disappearing is so powerful. Because it is the moment you stop begging for someone else to understand you, and you start building the version of you that does not need to be understood. Let me tell you a story you have probably never heard. It's not from a battlefield or from a boxing ring. It's from an old man in a dusty, quiet workshop. There was a sculptor in Europe known only by a few people. His art was once admired by the royal family, by rich collectors, by the wealthy. He was respected, celebrated, and he was seen. But one year, everything collapsed. His greatest piece of art, a statue that he had spent 5 long years carving, accidentally destroyed while it was being transported. The newspapers made fun of him. His investors pulled back their money. He lost all his credibility overnight. And in the face of this public shame, the man vanished. He didn't post a goodbye message online. He didn't write letters to his friends. He didn't try to explain his pain to anyone. He just disappeared. He went to a small, simple cabin in the forest where he lived all alone for 7 years. People said he had quit. People said he had gone mad. People said he would never return. But they were all wrong. Because in that silence, in that quiet forest, the man woke up every day before the sun rose. He would pick up his hammer and his chisel, and he began again. This time, he was not working to impress kings. He was not working to make headlines in the newspaper. He was working for one reason only, to rebuild his own soul. He worked in silence. He studied new techniques. He spoke to no one. And every single night he carved a little deeper, not just into the stone, but into himself. 7 years later, he returned to the city. He came with nothing but a single covered sculpture and tired but peaceful eyes. He said nothing. He simply placed the sculpture in the gallery and walked away. And when they unveiled it, when they pulled the cover off, people wept. They cried. Because what he had created was not just art. It was pain turned into beauty. It was silence turned into greatness. It was isolation turned into mastery. The world had forgotten about him, but he had used the silence to remember who he truly was. And that experience made him unbreakable. You may not be a sculptor, but you are carving something too. You are carving your future, your identity, your healing. And the mistake that most people make is that they try to heal while they are still being watched. They try to rebuild themselves while constantly updating people on their progress. They look for applause and likes for every tiny improvement. But real change, real growth, it needs quiet. It needs privacy. It needs disconnection. Because healing is not a performance, it is warfare. You are fighting the old version of you, not for attention, but for your own survival. And you cannot win that battle while you are busy scrolling, sharing, and begging for likes. So how do you disappear to heal? Here is what it looks like. You stop talking about healing, and you actually do the work of healing. You stop showing your face everywhere, and you turn your energy inward to yourself. You say no to the parties, to the phone calls, to the distractions, because your soul has important work to do. You create new routines for yourself. You wake up early. You move your body. You learn something hard. You sit with your pain, and you write it out in a journal. You don't post it. You just write it for you. You grow in silence. You change in silence. You can even suffer in silence. Because when you come back, you will let your new life speak so loudly that you will never have to explain yourself again. People will tell you, you have to stay visible. They will say, don't disappear. People will forget you. But here is what they do not understand. You are not disappearing to be forgotten. You are disappearing to be reborn. The old you, the one who tolerated disrespect, the one who kept explaining their pain, the one who kept showing up for people who never showed up for them. That version of you is dying now. And the new one, the stronger one, is not born in the spotlight. It is born in the dark when no one is watching. When the only voice you hear is your own. When you learn to sit with your discomfort long enough to grow from it. Silence is not weakness. It is power. And when you use it correctly, it will become your greatest weapon. So if you are feeling broken today, stop trying to be seen. Stop trying to prove anything to anyone. Stop trying to post your progress for people who don't really care. Instead, vanish. Disappear without a goodbye, without an explanation, without a warning. Go and heal. Go and rebuild. Go and become so powerful in your silence that when you return, they will not recognize you. Not because you are hiding, but because you have become someone they never saw coming. Step 4. Cut off what broke you ruthlessly. There is a hidden truth that no one really wants to say out loud. It is a truth that will set you free. But first, it will probably tear you apart. The truth is this. You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. You cannot rise up while you are still holding hands with the person or the thing that dragged you down. You cannot rebuild your life while staying connected to the person who destroyed your confidence. It doesn't matter how many motivational videos you watch. It doesn't matter how many books you read. If you keep letting poison back into your life, you will never be able to breathe again. Sometimes the most powerful act of healing is not just loving yourself more. It is cutting off what broke you, completely, unapologetically, ruthlessly, not slowly, not gently, and with more second chances, ruthlessly. Because your peace of mind is not a negotiation. Your healing is not a group discussion. It is a war for your soul. And there are things in your life right now, or people in your life that are killing you slowly. And it is time to burn the bridge, not just walk away from it. Let me take you into the real story of a girl that most people will never hear about. She was born in a small town. The kind of place where the silence's heavy dreams are small, and pain is passed down from parents to children like a family recipe. Her house was not a home. It was a battlefield in disguise. Her mother blamed her for her own failures in life. Her father had disappeared years ago. Her boyfriend mocked her dreams and told her that she would never make it without him. And her friends, they only seemed to love her when she stayed broken. Because people who are healed and happy often make insecure people feel uncomfortable. For years, she stayed. Because that is what broken people often do. They normalize their pain. They tell themselves, maybe it's not that bad. They say, at least someone is here with me. They think if I leave, I will be all alone. And then came the day when she looked in the mirror and she realized with a shock that she did not recognize herself anymore. Her eyes were empty. Her voice was quiet. Her dreams were dying. Not because her dreams were not real, but because the people around her kept suffocating them with their doubt and their negativity. So she made a decision. It was not a soft decision. It was not a safe one. It was a violent decision. Not violent toward them, but violent for her own freedom. She packed her things. She took the small amount of savings she had. And she left a letter that simply said, I don't hate you. but I love myself too much to stay." She left the house. She left the relationship. She left the city. She left the identity that they had all built around her. She cut it all off. No long conversations for closure. No goodbye parties. No explanations. And she disappeared into a new city where no one knew her name. At first, it was terrifying. She had very little money, no friends, and no real plan. But what she did have was oxygen. She could finally breathe. The constant noise was gone. The manipulation was gone. The guilt was gone. And in that quiet new space, she began to build her life. She got 2 jobs. She took classes at night. She learned a new skill. She started writing again. She started laughing again. She started trusting herself again. And 4 years later, she didn't just rebuild her life. She became someone that no one would recognize, not even herself. She was stronger, calmer, fiercer. She was alive. And when people from her past tried to reach out to her, she didn't reply with hate or anger. She replied with silence, because the woman she had become no longer fit into the story they remembered. She was not bitter. She was not angry. She was free. Because she did what most people never have the courage to do. She cut off what broke her, and she never looked back. If you are trying to heal, but you are still texting the person who shattered your heart. If you are trying to rebuild, but you are still surrounded by people who only knew the broken version of you. If you are trying to rise, but you are still living in the same daily habits, the same comfort zone, the same self-destructive loops, you will stay stuck. You cannot water flowers in poisoned soil and expect them to grow. You cannot fix your heart while handing it back to the people who keep stabbing it. You cannot find peace while choosing to go to war every morning in the form of toxic people, toxic thoughts, and toxic environments. You don't need more time. You need more courage. The courage to stop calling it loyalty when it is really self-betrayal. The courage to stop calling it love when it is really control. The courage to stop calling it hope when it is really a slow death. This does not mean you have to hate them. It does not mean you wish them harm. It simply means you finally understand that you cannot heal inside of a cage. Here is how you do it. You block the number without needing to explain why. You move out of the house even if it is scary. You walk away from the relationship even if it breaks your own heart. You say no even if your voice shakes when you say it. You say nothing at all because your silence now speaks louder than any final goodbye could. You cut it off like a knife, not like a slow peel of a bandage, not a soft fade away, a clean break. Because your future is bleeding while you keep trying to save something that already killed your spirit. What will people say? They will say you are rude. They will say that you have changed. They will say you are selfish. They will say you forgot about them. But they will never say how they failed you. They will never admit how they hurt you. They will never own what they did. And that is fine, because you are not cutting them off to hurt them. You are cutting them off to save yourself. And someday, when your life is peaceful, purposeful, and powerful, you will look back and say, "That was the day everything changed. Not because they changed, but because I stopped waiting for them to, and I chose myself." Stop romanticizing what broke you. Stop revisiting the places where your soul was shattered. Stop forgiving people who are not sorry. Stop negotiating with pain just because it feels familiar. You don't need to hate them. You don't need revenge. You don't even need closure from them. You need distance. You need silence. You need space to breathe again. And you will not find that space while you are dragging the heavy past into your bright future. So let this be the day you burn the bridge. Let this be the day you pack up your soul and leave. Let this be the day You say to yourself, "If it hurt me once, it will never get the chance to hurt me again." Cut off what broke you ruthlessly, without guilt, and without apology. Because your freedom doesn't begin with forgiveness from them. It begins with separation. That girl's journey to freedom is so powerful, and it's a story we will see again and again. The first step is always the hardest, but it leads to a new life. There are so many more stories of transformation I want to share with you here on this channel. If you want to follow these journeys and make sure you don't miss the next part of your own, I invite you to subscribe. That way we can continue to learn and grow together. Step 5. Turn your pain into daily fuel. Pain. It's not just something that you feel. It's not just something that you survive. Pain is energy, and energy, if you use it correctly, becomes power. Every single person who has ever become something great in this world did not escape their pain. They mastered it. They studied it. They used it. The difference between people who stay stuck in their pain and the people who rise through it is what they do with that energy. You can cry with your pain, or you can train with it. You can complain about it, or you can convert it. You can turn it into work, into discipline, into hunger, into fighter. That is what warriors do. They take every scar, every heartbreak, every rejection, and they put it into action every single day. Because when you use your pain correctly, it becomes the most powerful fuel in the world. Let me tell you the story of a man you have probably never heard of, but one whose pain has fed millions of people. He was a nobody raised in the slums of Manila in the Philippines. His mother worked in the back of a small bakery. His father left when he was young. His siblings were often sick. There were many days when they had nothing to eat except a little salt and some rice. He never went to a fancy culinary school. He had no degree. But he watched his mother's hands whenever she cooked. Every movement was filled with love, even when there was almost no food to cook. One night, his mother passed away quietly in her sleep. She died from exhaustion. He was only 16 years old. She died with her apron still on. And that night, standing next to her, he made a promise to her memory. He said, "I will make the world taste your food. Even if they forget me, they will never forget your flavor." He started working in street stalls. He cleaned dishes for 12 hours a day. He saved every single coin he earned. He would go to the market at midnight to buy ingredients when they were cheaper. He cooked in silence. He trained himself. No one gave him a chance. He failed again and again. People told him, "You're not qualified. You're too poor. You will never make it." But he kept going. Because he wasn't cooking for praise from others. He was cooking to deal with his pain. He was feeding his grief. He was healing his loss. And after 9 long years, he finally opened a tiny restaurant. It had only one table and no staff. He did everything himself. Within 2 years, the line to get into his restaurant stretched all the way down the street. Then came the awards, the famous Michelin star visits from international chefs and articles in magazines. And when they asked him, "What inspired you? What is your secret?" he simply said, "Pain. I just turned it into flavor. You are in pain. Good. That means you have energy right now. Use it. Use it to move your body. Use it to build your business. Use it to write your truth. Use it to wake up early in the morning. Use it to never, ever stop. Not because you are happy, but because you are not going to let this pain win. Let your suffering have a purpose. Let your hurt make you unstoppable. Every time you complain about your pain, but you do nothing with it, you let the enemy win. They left you good. Use that energy. They lied to you. Train harder. They broke your heart. Build something beautiful. You feel rejected. Work in silence until they are begging for your time. Don't just talk about it. Turn it into a fire so loud and so bright that the world cannot ignore your flame. You have two options with your pain. One, you can drown in it. Or two, you can rise with it. Try if you must. Let the tears fall. But when your tears are dry, I want you to pick up your pain and make it your weapon. Let it wake you up at 4 in the morning. Let it push you to your limits. Let it remind you of the person you never want to be again. Because the people who truly transform this world are not the ones who avoid pain. They are the ones who turn it into fuel. Step 6. Fix your routine, not just your feelings. Here is a truth that no one really wants to admit. Your life is not broken because of how you feel. It is broken because of what you do every single day. Pain is real. Sadness is real. But most people stay stuck not because of what they feel inside, but because of the daily routine that they refuse to change. You cannot heal in the middle of chaos. You cannot find peace in a life of disorder. You cannot build a new life while you are repeating the same destructive patterns every single day. Your future does not begin with motivation. It begins with discipline. And discipline begins with your daily routine. This next story is not fiction. It's about a real man who spent 23 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. His name is Brian Banks. At 17 years old, he was a star football player with a bright future. But he was accused, arrested, and convicted. He lost everything. His scholarship to university, his football career, his freedom, his good name. He spent years in a prison cell. He was not just behind bars, he was broken mentally. Everyone forgot about him. He had every right to just rot in that cell. He had every right to be angry, to be bitter, to give up. But one day, he stopped asking, "Why me?" And he started asking, "What now?" He took a simple notebook and he wrote 3 words on the front cover. Mind. Body, time. Every single day, he trained his body in that tiny 6 by 8 foot cell. He did push-ups, sit-ups, and shadow drills. Every single day, he trained his mind. He read books, he studied law. He wrote down his goals, and every single day, he trained his relationship with time. He woke up at the same hour. He used every single minute like it mattered. And when he was finally released from prison, he was not the same man who went in. He was faster, stronger, and smarter. He fought his way back and eventually played in the NFL, the National Football League. He rebuilt his life completely from scratch. And when people asked him how he survived all those years in prison, he said, "I couldn't control my feelings, but I could control my routine. And my routine saved me." Your routine right now might be killing your potential. Waking up late. Scrolling on your phone for the first hour of the day. Eating food that drains your energy. Hanging out with people who keep you small. Saying "I'm tired" when you haven't done anything meaningful. And then repeating this same cycle every single day. And then you wonder why your life is not changing. Stop trying to fix your feelings. Start fixing your hours. Wake up before the rest of the world. Move your body before your mind has a chance to tell you not to. Eat like you are someone who respects their own future. Create something before you consume something. Write your thoughts down before you scroll through other people's thoughts. Train your body before you talk about training. And commit to this, especially when you don't feel like it, because your feelings are often liars. But discipline is truth. Stop making this mistake. You say, I will do it when I feel better, or I will start when I feel motivated, or I will wait until Monday. And while you wait, life just keeps passing you by. You don't need a new year. You don't need a new moon. You need a new pattern. And you can start it right now. Not when you are ready, but when you are tired of being stuck. Discipline is not a punishment. It is a form of self-respect. And your routine is your message to the world. It's a message that says, I am done being the person I used to be. I am done waiting. I am done explaining. You may not feel strong today, but if you wake up tomorrow morning and you just keep going anyway, then you are already powerful, because no one changes their life in one day. They change it in one disciplined routine, repeated every single day. Step 7. Stop scrolling. Start rebuilding. Right now, your dreams are not dying because you are lazy. They are not dying because you are weak. They are dying because you are distracted. We live in a time where people scroll through 500 different faces in a day, and in the process they forget their own. You are not tired because you work too hard. You are tired because your mind is overloaded with information about everyone else's life. You wake up, and the very first thing you do is pick up your phone. Before you have even said good morning to yourself, you have said it to the internet. Before your feet have even touched the ground, your mind is already in 50 other places, and none of them are your own. And then you wonder why you feel empty. You wonder why you tend to feel like you are behind in life. You wonder why you aren't broken. It is because you are trying to build a meaningful life with a mind that has been designed for distraction. But here is the truth. You will never rebuild your own life while you are busy watching everyone else live theirs. Let me tell you a story that the media would never share because it doesn't make them any money. There was a young boy in Brazil. He grew up poor, not just financially poor, but mentally poor. He had no confidence and no role models, but he had a phone. And on that phone, he had access to everyone's life except for his own. He followed celebrities, influencers, trainers, hustlers, and travelers every single day. And the more he watched them win, the more he felt like a loser. He would lie in his bed at night, comparing his own broken mirror to their million-dollar lives. He started to believe that he was worthless. He believed it was too late for him, that he would never be able to catch up. So he stopped trying. Why should he even try when other people were already so far ahead? Until one day, he was sitting on the beach, scrolling, and his screen froze. There was just a spinning circle. And in that moment, something inside of him snapped. He stood up. He walked into the water, and he threw his phone deep into the ocean. People on the beach probably thought he was crazy. But he knew that the phone was killing him, not physically, but mentally. That night, for the first time in years, he picked up a notebook. He wrote on the first page, Day 1, no scrolling, only building. Every day after that, he woke up early. He trained his body. He took free online courses to learn new things. He started working in a garage, and he learned how to fix engines. He learned how to talk to people face to face again. He started selling used car parts online. And slowly, piece by piece, he built a life. Without filters, without likes, without comparison. 4 years later, he now owns that garage. He employs 6 other young boys who were once lost just like he was. And when someone asked him, "What changed your life?" he smiled and said, "I stopped watching, and I started doing." Every time you scroll past a video that you won't even remember tomorrow, you are stepping over your own potential. You think it's harmless. You think it's just a few minutes. But add those minutes up. 5 minutes becomes 10. 10 becomes an hour. An hour a day becomes a life that is wasted. Watching strangers win while you rot in your own regret. You say you don't have time. Check the screen time report on your phone. That is where your life went. How do you fix this? When you wake up, leave your phone off for the first 60 minutes of your day. Create something before you consume something. Write down your own goals before you check anyone else's. Turn off all the notifications. Replace the apps with habits. Replace TikTok with a journal. Replace Instagram with a trip to the gym. Replace YouTube with books. Replace Twitter with silence. Make your own life so rich, so interesting that scrolling feels like a waste of your precious time. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far behind. You are just too distracted. Turn your phone back into a tool, not a god. Reclaim your hours. Reclaim your focus. Reclaim your mind. And rebuild what you lost. Do it in silence, with discipline, without the need for anyone to see it. Because someday they won't be scrolling past you. They will be scrolling because of you. Step 8. Build a body they can't laugh at. Let's be honest with each other. You have been judged. You have been mocked or underestimated. Maybe people have laughed at you for your looks, for your size, or for your weakness. They told you in different ways that you were not good enough. You were not strong enough. You did not look like them. And every time they made a joke, you acted like it did not hurt you. But it did. And it still does. And here is something that no one tells you. You cannot cry your way out of disrespect. You have to become someone they can't laugh at. And you don't do it to prove them wrong. You do it so they never get the chance to disrespect you again. There was a boy in Eastern Europe. He was too skinny, too shy, and too weak. His classmates called him names like Twig or Toothpick, and worse. Girls would laugh when he walked by. He couldn't do a single push-up. He was bullied so badly that one day he locked himself in the school bathroom and he cried until his throat hurt. He promised himself 2 things that day. 1, they will never see me cry again. And 2, they will never see me weak again. That night he didn't go online to complain. He didn't tell anyone what happened. He simply searched online how to get strong at home. He had no gym, no coach, and no equipment. He only had his willpower. He started with push-ups against the wall. Then he moved to push-ups on his knees. Then, finally, regular push-ups. Then he started doing pull-ups on some old pipes in his backyard. He trained in secret. He trained in pain. He trained with only one goal in his mind, to make his own weakness fear him. He studied nutrition. He started preparing his meals. He woke up before the sun rose. He trained twice a day. He did not miss a single day. Even when he was sick. There was no noise, no posting online, just fire. 2 years later, he returned to his school for a reunion. No one recognized him. He had broad shoulders, a wide back, and arms like stone. The same girls who had laughed at him now stared at him in silence. The same boys who had bullied him could not even hold his eye contact. And when one of them came up to him and asked, "Bro, what happened to you?" he just looked at him and said, "You did. Now look at what you built. Your body is not just about muscles. It's about getting your revenge with silence. It's about showing the world that you are undeniable. Not for others to clap for you, but for you to finally be able to stand up tall again. You don't need to be a professional bodybuilder. You don't need to have six-pack abs. But you do need to be able to look in the mirror and say to yourself with pride, 'I earned this.' Why does your body matter so much? Because no one respects someone who looks like they do not respect themselves. And your body is the first message that the world reads about you. So change that message. Train daily even when you are tired. Eat clean, healthy food even when it feels boring. Move your body more and sit less. Build discipline, not just biceps. Get strong enough that when you walk into a room, no one laughs. They listen. You don't need to hurt anyone. You don't need to yell. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Just build. Build in silence. Train in pain. And when they see you again, let them choke on the version of you that they said would never exist. Not because you hate them, but because you finally loved yourself enough to become unbreakable. Step 9. Forgive yourself, not them. You have been told your whole life, forgive them. Move on. Let it go. But let me ask you something. What about you? What about forgiving the person who keeps blaming themselves for trusting too much, for staying too long, for believing the lies, for loving the wrong people, for not leaving earlier? Nobody talks about that, because the hardest person to forgive is not the one who hurt you. It is yourself. You look in the mirror, and you don't just see the pain they caused. You see your own guilt. You see shame. You see regret. You say to yourself, how could I let them treat me that way? Why did I stay when I knew it was wrong? Why didn't I speak up? Why didn't I protect myself? And that is the pain that never seems to leave. Because it's not just about what they did to you. It's about what you feel you did to yourself by staying silent, by not walking away, by losing yourself in the process. Let me tell you the story of a soldier that most people have never heard about. He served his country with honor. He was brave and respected. But one day on the battlefield, he made a decision. It was a split-second decision that cost the life of his best friend. It was not intentional. It was not careless. It was just the chaos of war. But he never, ever forgave himself. After the war, he came home with medals on his chest, but his eyes were dead. He didn't smile anymore. He didn't sleep. He didn't connect with his family. Because in his mind, every breath that he took was a breath that was stolen from his friend, the one who never came back. He stopped living. He refused to go to therapy. He refused to speak about it. Until one night, he was sitting alone in a dark room, holding a letter. It was a letter he had written to his friend years ago but had never sent. He read it out loud, his voice shaking in the quiet room. It said, I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you would ever forgive me. But I need you to know. I have stopped blaming the war. I have stopped blaming fate. I have stopped blaming the enemy. And now I have to stop blaming myself. He wept. He cried for hours. And for the first time in years, he slept through the night. Not because the pain had disappeared, but because he finally understood. Forgiveness is not about erasing the past. It is about deciding to stop being its prisoner. What does this mean for you? You have made mistakes. You have stayed too long in places that broke you. You gave your love to people who never deserved it. You tolerated disrespect. You ignored the warning signs. But please hear this now. That was survival. That was loyalty. That was your big heart. That was trauma. That was confusion. That was not weakness. Stop calling yourself stupid for trying to save people who didn't want to be saved. Stop punishing yourself for having a kind heart. Stop hating yourself for trying to be good in a cruel world. Forgive yourself, not because you were perfect, but because you were doing the very best you could with the pain, the pressure, and the silence that you had at that time. You don't need special candles or rituals to do this. You just need the truth. Stand in front of a mirror. Look yourself directly in the eyes and say, you didn't know back then what you know now. But you made it through. And I forgive you. Because once you truly forgive yourself, you don't need anyone else to. Stop holding yourself hostage for your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your trauma. You are not your regrets. You are the version of yourself who survived it all and is still standing here today. And the person you are becoming deserves forgiveness, not from them, from you. This is such a personal and important step. If this story touched you, and if you know someone in your life who is being too hard on themselves, maybe you could share this story with them. Sometimes, hearing that it's okay to forgive ourselves is the one message we need to start healing. Step 10. Come back unrecognizable. This is the moment they never expected, the moment when the person they doubted, the person they hurt, the person they forgot about, becomes unrecognizable. You don't just heal, you transform. Not slowly, not quietly, but completely. Because the version of you that is rising now is not a return to who you were. It is a rebirth. For example, there was a woman they left behind. She was a mother, a wife, a giver. The kind of woman who gave everything she had to others and kept nothing for herself. She lost her husband to betrayal. She lost her home in the process. She even lost her children for a while due to legal battles. She had absolutely nothing left. People in her town whispered behind her back. They said, "She will never recover. She is too broken. She's too old to start her life over. She's finished." But what they did not know was that inside of her there was a storm waiting. She didn't fight back with angry words. She didn't post sad stories online. She didn't beg anyone for help. She disappeared. She took all of her pain and she turned it into plans. She got 2 jobs. She lived in a tiny one-room apartment with a broken bed and no television. She would read books while eating cheap soup for dinner. She took online courses using the free Wi-Fi from coffee shops. She woke up before the sun rose and walked everywhere because she could not afford a car. But day by day, piece by piece, she rebuilt. Not just her career, not just her body, but her spirit. She started a small business from her tiny apartment. It failed, so she started another one, and then another one. And 3 years later, she stood on the stage of an international women's conference. Behind her on a giant screen were the words, Founder, CEO, Survivor. She was not just healed. She was unrecognizable. And when someone from her past walked up to her after her speech with total disbelief in their eyes, she just smiled. It was not a smile of ego or revenge. She smiled because she knew something they didn't. They thought they had buried her, but they didn't know that she was a seed. Let them doubt you. Let them walk away. Let them think you are gone forever. While they are sleeping, you will work. While they are scrolling, you will build. While they are laughing, you will sharpen your mind and your body. And when they see you again, let them choke on their silence. Not because you want revenge, but because you have risen so far beyond the person you used to be that even you do not recognize yourself anymore. How do you come back unrecognizable? You change your environment. You master your body. You control your time. You learn the things they never taught you in school. You move in silence. You work until your name itself means something. You stop showing your progress and you start showing your results. Don't just post about what you are becoming. Become it. This is your moment. You don't need to return as a better version of yourself. You need to return as a new version. So complete, so focused, so elevated that even your own past would have to look at you and say, "I never saw this coming." Let them remember the day that you broke, and let them forget about the day that you rose. Because when you come back, you will not be the same. You will be unrecognizable. If you are still listening to this, it means you have not given up, and that my friend means something very important. You have been hurt. You have been tired. but you are still here. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Begin with the pain. Begin in the silence. Begin with the fear, but please just begin. And one day, the world will ask you, "How did you do it?" And you will smile and you will say, "Because I never stopped believing in me. Now go and rebuild, and come back unrecognizable." And that is where our story for today concludes. This one was a real journey, wasn't it? I am so curious to hear your take on it all. What were your final thoughts as we finished? Do you have any lingering questions about why a character did what they did, or about one of the steps we talked about? Please leave all your opinions, your theories, and your questions below in the comments. I truly love reading them and building this conversation with all of you. Thank you for being here. Until next time.